everybody? Welcome to Capital of Combat. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch.
Rob Jarrell.
And today we're gonna recap this past Saturday's HBO. I think it was Boxing After Dark.
Yeah.
Which featured Brandon Rios versus Mike Alvarado III, and also on the undercard we had Gilberto Ramirez versus Maxim Blaskov. We didn't really cover that during the preview video, so we're not gonna talk too much about the Blaskov Ramirez fight, but we do want to touch on it a little bit because something very important to the super middleweight division happened, which was the champion of that division, Andre Ward, had a front row seat to watch these guys fight and commentate on the action going on in the ring. Now, being that Andre Ward is arguably the number 2 pound for pound guy, one of the smartest guys in boxing, if I was one of those guys, I'd be like, you know what? I don't want that guy sitting there commentating my fight. He's sitting there taking all kinds of notes, studying me, breaking me down. And I think they were fighting to like, as an eliminator, to become his mandatory. So they're fighting an uphill battle. What do you think?
Man. Andre Ward been sitting since what, October?
November of 2013.
So he's going to be fresh, maybe a little rusty, but he needs a name to get back out there. And we know he fights on HBO. Who have they been building up? Gilberto Ramirez. He's like 31-0 now.
Something like that, yeah.
And he was in a fight versus a guy who normally fights at 175 that came down and did what he was supposed to, which was give Ramirez rounds.
Yeah.
The bad thing is, he didn't expose the flaws, but there was some exposed because guess who was commentating? Andre Ward. And before anyone harps on him going up to 175, there's plenty of competition at 168. You got Ramirez, you got DeGale, you got Groves, you got Chavez Jr. moving up. You got Froch rematch if he wants that rematch.
Froch don't want that.
Exactly. So there are fights before he moves up to 175 if he wants to move up to 175.
He says he makes 168 easy. Let him make 168 easy.
Hey, Hagler never moved up. He ruled middleweight for how many years?
A good little while.
So why should Ward? And now that he's seen the best that's offered, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean the Durrell brothers, but the Durrell brothers as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you got plenty of competition at 168. So he needs some of those guys to step up and step up to the plate. He's got a new promoter. Hopefully they can get him a fight soon and we can see him back in the ring doing his thing, because that's what he's paid to do, is to fight. I mean, he gets paid at HBO too, but he probably gets paid a lot more to be in the ring than on the side of the ring.
And then he's probably been training for the better part of since he's gotten healthy, so.
Yeah, probably about a year now. So, with that being said, we're going to talk about the main event, which was Brandon Bam Bam Rios versus Mike Mile High Alvarado. In their rubber match, the score was 1 for Rios, 1 for Alvarado. Rios knocked out Alvarado in the first fight. Alvarado won a decision. And what we said was that if Alvarado could box, he could probably get a decision. If he was unable to box and was dragged into a slugfest with Rios, he would get knocked out probably about the 8th to 10th round. We didn't get any of that because somebody forgot to tell Mike Alvarado the date of the fight, because he didn't show up. Unfortunately, he had a lot of outside of the ring issues, which really hampered his training camp. He went to jail for a gun charge. It was reported that he spent about 17 days in jail, which is almost 3 weeks. Most professional fighters do an 8-week training camp.
6 to 8 anyway.
6 to 8 week training camp. So 3 of those gone right there. And then he probably had to go to court and do other things. The man, he is reported of having only 2 weeks to train. Now, when you're at that level, you can't do that. And that's exactly what showed in the ring. He had nothing for Brandon Rios at all.
Yeah. And when I saw that weigh-in, Rios probably looked in the best shape that he's probably looked in quite a while. I mean, he looked, well, in shape for him. I mean, he's not going to be super
he's not going to look like Tim Bradley. No.
But he looked in shape and ready to go. I mean, he didn't slow down at all. It was full throttle. And because the two of them have taken some punishment and been in wars, Rios did not really take those, except for Pacquiao, those truly bludgeoning shots, while Alvarado, I mean, since the fights with Rios, has just been taking punishment. I mean, he's taking punishment in both Rios fights, the Provodnikov fight, and Marquez put hands on him too, so he didn't really react that well when he got punched, when he got hit. I mean, his resistance just wasn't there, and Rios looked to be in top form. I mean, for him, he's a great infighter. I will give him that. He may not be a boxer, but he is a really, really, really good infighter.
Yeah, that mid to close range is all Brandon Rios. Those hooks were sharp. They were thudding. His combinations were fluid. His jab was popping, and that's something you really don't see from Rios. A lot of times he's kind of just pushing it out there to get you to put your guard up so he can start ripping hooks on you. But he was actually snapping his jab. He was doing great head movement in that middle range, and it showed that he's learning and he's dedicated to his craft, which is good, because if you want to stay in the top, you got to keep on working. So you have to give Brandon Rios credit to that. After the third round, Alvarado decided to retire on his stool. He had an eye injury, and he decided, hey, this isn't going the way I planned. I need to save myself for later on. A lot of people are going to rag him for that. They're going to call him a quitter. They're going to say he doesn't have any heart. They weren't in there with Brandon Rios.
And not only that, but he was just wholly unprepared. Again, at the weigh-in, he did not look like how he looked in the last two fights.
Or even the Provodnikov and Marquez fight. He looked out of shape.
Yeah, and I mean, you could tell. I mean, Rios just looked way more shape. He didn't really look engaged. You could tell
he showed up.
Yeah, that's about as much as he can do, as he could do.
And for him to realize all of those things, and I personally think it was a smart move. Like, the crowd booed. He'll probably take a big bashing from all the internet folks out there. But when you're unprepared and you're in there getting punched in the face, maybe it is a good idea to pack your ball up and go home. Maybe he can show better in his next fight when he comes prepared. We all deserve for him to be at his best when he shows up come fight night. He deserves to be at his best come fight night. And because that didn't happen, he decided, hey, this is not worth the damage that I'm going to take, because he was probably getting tired. He was throwing very few punches, and he was getting hit with almost everything Rios threw. So for him to preserve himself, to possibly earn another payday, feed his family more, and be able to enjoy that money that he makes, is a good idea in my book, because at the end of the day, we're just talking about it. He's the one that's got to live it. So shout out to him for recognizing that and not trying to go out there and be foolhardy and go out on his shield and all that stuff and end up hurting himself for the future when he's going to be old and forgotten and no one else is going to help him. But they're going to be like, oh yeah, he was such a warrior for going out on his shield, but you're not helping him when he needs help with his medical bills and he can't talk.
Now, there's two things with Alvarado. One, get your personal life taken care of, because you can't make money when you're in jail, or you can't, or not focus on the task at hand, because this is your career, at least for a limited amount of time. So you have to do the most that you can with that time, so you can make the most amount of money. So when you do retire, you're not penniless. You're not suffering from head trauma that you can't cover.
Right.
Second, be more professional, because that is, I know it's a lot of money. You did get your a payday, but as fans, as you, the fans, us two, any other fans, deserve more out of you to come in prepared. Because some way, shape, or form, we are paying for it. And we are looking for our money's worth.
Right. That HBO subscription that we pay for went to his paycheck. So Rob is 100% right.
Now, with Rios, was a crossroad fight for him. I mean, he is now back to fighting B+ A-list fighters. You can see him probably versus the fight that everyone wants to see against Provodnikov. That's going to be an all-action fight, and I will be sitting on my couch watching it.
You know who I want to see? I want to see him in there with Tim Bradley.
That's what I was going to say next. Tim Bradley. We could see a Chavs rematch. Maybe not.
Yeah, he had issues as well, and it showed in their fight.
So, I mean, it just, whoever's with Top Rank, there's enough talent to make a decent fight. If they're working with Golden Boy, maybe, because we don't know the contract situation with half of them. Because they could be signed with Al Heyman, they could be with Golden Boy. We don't know, but the fights are out there. I like to see him back in the ring in that kind of shape, in that kind of form.
Yes. So that's it for this episode, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like this video. If you guys got anything you want to add, you can comment below. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe below so you can catch all of our updates. Hit us up on Facebook, Capital of Combat, Google+, same name. You can hit us up on our email, capitalofcombat@gmail.com. And if you guys got any questions, you can hit us up on any of those mediums, and we'll add you to the Combat Mailbag, do a video response to your question. So we'll catch you guys in the next episode. We hope you be safe out there. Peace.
This is round one, and you already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and gone. My fists are on fire. I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage. Keep thinking that it's a game. I kick rhyme, hurricane. I told them I don't play. I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighters.